How many places have we left we weren't supposed to leave? It was emotional. We wasn't being spiritual. We weren't hearing what God was saying. There was more to do there. And even today, we're missing some pieces because of it. There's some grace you can't get back. But God, he'll recycle a season for you. He'll renew some opportunities, but he can't give you the same opportunity. Some of them we missed. Some we're sitting in right now. If we didn't make the right decisions, we'll miss some things. You got to know how to be led by the Spirit. And so the handles of the enemy, offense, anger, fear, frustration, handles. Now notice it's interesting because when you're in the bit and bridle place, God and Satan are forced, God is forced to use the same tools Satan does to move you. But see, God never intended for you to remain there. He wants you to get in the Spirit so you can be led by the handles of the Spirit. Somebody say handles of the Spirit.
Handles of the Spirit.
And when you enter into the Spirit, you find there are other handles there. There are other leadings there, like joy, peace, love, that you can now be sensitive to. Now you're sensitive to the emotions of the Spirit. And so when you see that fence, you're responding in a love. When you're looking for where God is trying to take you in a direction, in a season, you're responding or you're yielding to peace. You see that? Different dimensions, different seasons. So you have to learn how to navigate through the transitional seasons when God is bringing you into new places in his presence. Everything don't have to fall apart every time. Eventually, and there's grace there as you come along. But eventually, if you're not careful, you will incur damages that cannot be recouped. Somebody pray.
Ye mayande de basata yesi, ye konane de bakoto yesikete, sikete ye kopa yesite, ye de mayande de baye ko.
Praise the Lord. No. I was watching a show with my wife, and you know, every now and then I'll see the family. Some of us got ourselves into some trouble. You ever see the marriages? And some of us been in those situations where we got married, we took a break, then there was a side baby, and there was a side this and a side that. That's someone that has not harnessed or learned how to manage their own emotions. Is you're emotional. But when you come back to yourself, you realize, that's my wife. But now you got another thing coming. You got an Ishmael. And now there's more stress and pressure on the marriage now on the other side. Y'all finally come back to your senses. But if you could have just rode it out for a few months there. Just sit still. Just be still for some months. Date yourself for a little while. You still married. Listen, being married, taking a break ain't an excuse to go hook up with somebody else. No, you still married. And even in some divorce, you sign the paper, but to God, you still married. Imagine all the places if we would have just shut up and sit still, what would have missed? Just sit still and just chill. Come on. Some fights you didn't have to get into. You fell out with people you wasn't supposed to fall out with. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, yeah. I learned how a lot of these prophets and pastors, how they lose their house. Because Jesus comes with pain. He comes with division. He comes with a sword. And if you don't know how to manage that dimension, everything will break around you. And you will find yourself unable to transition without losing something when God never intended you to lose anything. He's just trying to teach you how to be divided unto him. Do you see that?
Amen.
But when you're emotional, you do damages. Amen. Imagine you have a friend and you praying for them. Lord, touch them. Bless them. Y'all are cool. Y'all are good. They're just not saved. They're not together. They're your best friend. You're hanging out. Lord, bless them. Touch them. Help them, Lord. Bring them into your presence, Lord. Bring them into your spirit, Lord. And all of a sudden they get attitude with you. I'm talking to somebody. I'm prophesying to somebody. They get an attitude with you. Y'all have a big falling out. You don't even know. God is actually answering your prayer. He is just dividing you from them because he's now handling them for a season.
Come on.
Now y'all get into an argument. I'm trying to help somebody. There's a fence. There's a fence there. And God is saying, Jesus is saying, don't get offended at the fence. Offenses will come. Fences will come. Don't get offended at the fence. Don't kick it. Here's what he said to Paul. Don't kick at the pricks. Same thing. Don't kick at the pricks. Same thing. Don't get offended at the fence. So there's a fence there. You kicking at that fence. You fussing with that fence. You fighting with that fence. God put a fence there for the season of your answered prayer. You stand on the other side of that fence. You listen. This ain't the tool man Taylor either. You cussing him out from one side of the fence to the other. You say some things that you can't take back. You say some things that they won't get over. You did some damages that can't be recouped. And because God is faithful, he's still answering your prayer on the other side of the fence. And the salvation you prayed for, you'll never see them. You'll never see them in it like that. Because you forfeited the season. Because you could not manage your emotions in the transition into another dimension of his presence. Is somebody hearing me?